everybody, Defcamp here, and welcome to another episode of DefTalk, the talk show that focuses on everything World of Warcraft, whether it's classic, retail, or the players that play it. We're going to cover it all. Today we have with us, of course, my brother Melderon, the PhD in bags.
In
right?
bags,
PhD
yes.
in
My
bags.
PhD is in classic WoW inventory. I actually studied 4.5 years. It's it's bearing fruit now.
Awesome. And with us, we have a huge friend of the channel and a personal friend, Ferrum Patronus. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Really glad that you come out today. And also, I love the artwork. I love everything got going on Spider-Man, dude. It looks awesome. I love it.
Thank you.
So let's just jump right into it, shall we? When did you start playing WoW, and how were you introduced to it?
Okay, I had a friend that played back when it first came out. He was actually part of the beta, and so I'm going to be interviewing him at a later date. But he experienced the whole, like, he knew about Warcraft 3. He had been following it whenever it was first announced. He played it since the beginning. And I remember, wanting to hang out with him in high school, and I think it was every Tuesday and Thursday, he would tell us, I can't hang out because I have a raid. And I was like, what is a raid? And so he told us, and I was like, dude, that is so lame. You're hanging out with people online instead of us. And then as time went on, I watched him do a raid at one point, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And so I kind of tried to, play on his account a little and make a character. And so I ended up getting my own account, found out that I needed a good computer. And around 2006 is when I graduated high school. So I got this beast of a computer. It was a laptop. It's a Dell Inspiron. It was fully decked out, 2 gigs of RAM, 256 meg dedicated graphics. I mean, it was 120 gig hard drive. This thing was a beast.
Wow, for 2006, that's yeah.
Yeah, it was like $1,300.
Oh my god!
I used all my graduation money on it.
Nice.
But so I started playing then, and that was like right whenever they had announced Burning Crusade. So I did technically play in Classic WoW, but I didn't get, other than the leveling experience, I didn't get any of the Classic WoW experience, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You start playing vanilla pretty late as well, and we got a little bit of the end game experience, but not much at all. And it was mostly level experience for us, but it did captivate us in that time. So we definitely fell in love with WoW in that vanilla timeline, which was amazing. So yeah. So when you first started playing, was it a rude awakening? Were you had you played any MMOs or anything for that?
I actually had not. I mean, aside from RuneScape, I had played that before, but this was like, a lot of people complain about the graphics look kind of childish and stuff like that. But again, I came from RuneScape, so I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, right.
So
3D world.
Yeah.
Top of the line.
I remember playing it and going, like, there's only a few games out there that'll make you go out and buy a console for the game, like Halo. Yes. Super Smash Brothers when that first came out for N64.
Zelda.
Yes, Zelda as well. And so this was one of those games that I was like, crap, I need a computer.
Yeah,
so
same thing.
I went out and got a computer for World of Warcraft.
Nice.
For this. So.
Yeah, our story's a little similar, Melderon, when you bought the computer.
Yeah, I bought a computer just to play WoW. It was a very similar experience. Basically, I went to Cape May, visited my buddy. He had to go to work, and I was like, what am I going to do all day? He's like, here, just pop open this game and play it. And I played for 8 hours straight, and I was like, oh my god, this is the best game I've ever played. And I went home, and I literally bought a computer. Because I had like a laptop for college or whatever, and I literally bought a computer to play this game. And it was the best decision I ever made. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
But, so what did you roll when you first started?
Actually, when I first started, the first character that I actually like leveled to try to get to max level was a troll shaman.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. And I worked on him for a while, and I got to like 32 or something, which is actually impressive for the time.
Absolutely.
And I don't remember why I quit playing it, but I ended up switching to, I want to say I played an alliance character for a while and got him up to 40 something, and it was a rogue, of course. And then whenever Burning Crusade launched, all of my friends were like, hey, we're playing Horde, we're doing it on this server. So I was like, So I started a new character.
Yeah.
And it was, since it was for Burning Crusade, and you didn't have to like earn the extra races back then, I started a Blood Elf Rogue and got him up to max level. He was my first character. I actually got to max level and experienced raiding, PvP, arenas, all that stuff with that character.
Awesome.
Nice.
So I'm wondering, you're shaman. I'm wondering. So a big reason that I was afraid of shaman for a long time was totems. I felt like totems, and then for a lot of new players, I always wonder, like, is totems a kind of a scary, thing for people? Because, they end up filling up your bars. You're like, oh my god, I have totems everywhere. And some people either just don't use them when they first make them, or they don't know what to think of them. Were they a little confusing for you when you were leveling your shaman?
Truth be told, no. The only confusing part was trying to get I think it was the water totem, was the one you had to get in the Barrens, is that right?
Yeah.
The water totem quest, yes.
The fact that you had to climb mountains, I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
So that was confusing, but I mean, again, since I started technically during Classic, having items in your inventory for stuff was not... it wasn't a new thing for me.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Carrying those 4 totems, it's like...
No.
Yeah.
God damn, I didn't even pick up one more thing. If I didn't have to hold these totems, no, it's just...
Oh yeah, imagine being a warlock or with the soul shards in your bag.
Yes.
Or a hunter who has one.
Yeah,
less.
I actually got that in one of my
is not
shaman
bad.
guides. It was one of the responses. It's like, oh man, I couldn't deal with 4 inventory slots dedicated to totems, and I'm like, have you played a hunter? Have you played a warlock? Have you even warriors, dude, have their sword and shield with them, bandages. Every class has something they have to keep with them, And it's like,
my priest, I always had 2-gear sets. I had my healing set and my shadow set. If I had like shadow gear, warriors, a lot of warriors carry like spirit sets, and so I mean most classes have, but I think definitely warlocks get the shit end of the stick with that, and probably hunters, because of just having that quiver,
all that ammo, But so I have to ask. So before we transition, so your names, you're Ferrum Patronus, but you use Warriors of Mandalore for everything else. If you can explain that, actually, I've never actually asked you that question.
The reason for that is because when I started the Warriors of Mandalore, it was a channel that I intended to have multiple people working in, so like my brothers and some friends and stuff, and it just kind of turned out where they just sort of didn't exactly. Didn't have the time for it, and it took them a little while to realize that. So it was going to be one of those things where you had multiple people with the Warriors of Mandalore, and I'm just Ferrum Patronus, just one of the faces.
Gotcha.
And as fate would have it, I'm the only one for now. But that's again, just for now. If it ends up opening up to where I have room for other people and can pay somebody, can't even pay myself right now, then I'll have more people there.
Gotcha. I see.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was always wondering, where does Mandalore come from, the name Mandalore?
It actually comes from Star Wars. It's the Mandalorians are essentially the Spartans of the Star Wars universe.
Gotcha.
That's right, yes.
So I always thought that was pretty cool, the fact that they're still alive, because there are no Spartans these days. The fact that they're still alive and they have the strong warrior kind of mentality, and that's like 100 of them is worth more than a full army from any other planet. So I always thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So
sorry, go ahead, Defcamp.
I just want to say that I don't know if we passed it, guys. Ferrum Patronus does make content on YouTube on the Warriors of Mandalore channel. We kind of skipped over that. I want to make sure that you guys do know that. So if you wanted to check out some of his content, some of the latest videos you've made, I'm trying to look right now, but you made a few about Classic launch earlier than expected. A lot about Classic.
He also makes a lot of technical stuff too, which I really enjoy.
And that's what I really like. I'm really, really, really excited. I like your reviews as well. The one you did about Anthem. I was actually the review that I watched about Anthem because I was, thinking about buying it, that and the other. But the technical stuff is really cool because you really don't see that much of it on YouTube. And I really like that aspect of your channel.
Yeah, it's definitely niche. So can you explain the whole, for people who haven't watched it, the whole converting to phone thing? I thought that was so weird, interesting though, but not weird in a bad way. Yeah.
What it was for me is I've always grown up as a poor kid. I had no money, still don't. I'm a school teacher.
Yeah, well,
So,
I understand that. It sucks, dude. Yeah.
So for me, finding ways around money essentially is kind of how I focus a lot of my channel and solving a lot of problems.
Nice.
So I've been looking at trying to figure out how to run World of Warcraft on a Chromebook. That's something that I've mentioned. Looking at how to run World of Warcraft on as cheap of a rig as possible, which is why I'm working on a video right now for plugging in a graphics card, used of course, I got on eBay, into a laptop so that you can have a desktop graphics card there.
Wow.
Wow.
Essentially, I feel like there's too many options out there for people to be like, well, you need a desktop because laptops are not upgradable. They are. It just takes a little bit more work, but at the same time, the accomplishment is there. And the deal with phones is that you can get a desktop pretty cheap, and but you're not always there at your desktop. So I figured out there are ways that a lot of companies are going to streaming. Google actually released their streaming technology. They talked about that recently.
Really interesting. Really
yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't realize you can stream from your own computer as well. You can actually host multiple people.
Right.
And it's free, by the way, since it's your own computer. But I found out that there is an app that you can download just for Android because iPhones aren't as versatile as Androids are.
Or cool. Yeah.
And yeah. But it allows you to, essentially, you can use a Bluetooth mouse, Bluetooth keyboard, and you can use your phone just essentially as a small screen and just link into your desktop at home. As long as you have good Wi-Fi, you can stream your desktop to your cell phone. So that's how that works.
Interesting.
Get the hell out of here. You are taking the meme, don't you guys have phones, to a whole new level. To a whole new level.
Yeah. I feel like if they had set it up to where they're like, okay, you can use your phone, but you need a Bluetooth mouse, which you can get for like less than $10, Bluetooth keyboard, which you can get for less than $20. You still need those, but you're going to play the game because it's still focused on computers. I think that no one would have gotten upset about that.
Yeah, and also I think that the fact that they should have made it PC accessible as well. You know what I mean? But, I love that idea, like that, where for people that have limited resources, they could still enjoy WoW Classic, because WoW Classic in its essence is not a very
intensive,
graphically intensive game, and the technology that we have today compared to 2005, 2006, people were playing on monitors with backs the size of my head, and which is pretty big. But the fact that you can play on a phone today, that just goes to show kind of how technologically advanced we are from that long ago. But that's amazing. I would have never thought that you could actually stream WoW from a computer onto your phone and play with a wireless keyboard and mouse. Like, that is just absolutely, that just boggles my mind. That is amazing. So how did you, just by researching it and looking into it, because I doubt many other people have researched that.
Yeah, like I said, I just look up like different ways to hack stuff, and when I say hack, I don't mean like breaking into computer systems. I know how to do that too, but that's not near as much fun. It's really not fun. You just destroy it, and you're like, well, that was short.
Yeah.
But without getting into the cliche like life hacks kind of stuff, I used to work in IT, so I know how to get around computers. I've used to work in electronic repair, so I know like how to use power supplies to modify those so that you can like just have a power supply set up to charge your phone and do other things, even though it's useless because it came out of a crappy computer. Mm-hmm. You can modify those in so many ways too, and I enjoy that kind of stuff. So essentially taking something that is useless to 99% of people and finding a different purpose for it that solves problems, perhaps, I find that kind of stuff fun. So yeah, I do a lot of research on that.
Interesting. So what would you think is
trash.
Yeah, exactly. What would you think is the minimum price point for someone who wants to get into classic WoW, maybe as a console gamer, doesn't want to buy a whole rig? Do you think you can get away with a pretty cheap system to play classic WoW, even the new version that the demo may have been a tip of the hat to?
Yeah, definitely. Like, in all honesty, all it takes is find a used laptop that's like $100, Craigslist or something, and then you can buy components for it to upgrade it, put a graphics card into it, essentially, and that'll cost you around $100 for like a GTX 770 or 780, depending on what kind of deal you find, and it will easily run World of Warcraft at very high settings. So
so we're talking minimum like $250 with all the Bluetooth equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's portable at that point. Like if you want to go with just a desktop, you can do even cheaper than that because you don't need the adapters. You just have to move some stuff around inside and reorient like the cooling unit on the processor, and I've done that too, and that works really well as well.
That's a dynamic. Sorry.
No, so go ahead, Melderon.
That's a dynamic that a lot of people don't think about, is because so the game's going to be popular, and I think it'll be more popular than retail WoW. But another thing I think is that since it's a retro game, and even though they did add some graphical layers to it, if you play on classic settings, I feel that it's even going to increase the popularity of classic WoW because of its accessibility to everyone. Yeah. And it's funny because we always talk about accessibility as like that's what killed retail WoW, but technical accessibility is what's going to make classic WoW
right. Yeah.
Even more of an impact.
I think so. And like I recently was at Goodwill, and they have like computer towers that are 5, 6, 7 years old for like $50. Mm-hmm. You can buy a computer tower. You can buy a monitor there for $25. Do what you said, buy a graphics card, and be playing classic WoW with like $150 invested, if that. That is like bare bones, but still, that's pretty freaking cool, man. And I think like the accessibility in that way, and I think you'll have people, and I'm not saying like third world countries and this and that and the other, but in a lot of places they don't have the money to spend. A lot of places they'll go to internet cafes because it's a lot cheaper, things like that. But this is a great way where you could, as long as you have that connection to the internet, play classic WoW at a really cheap, way. And I think that's really cool. It shows the accessibility of the game, even though it's an old game. And it's amazing that we're still talking about a game that's like 15 years old. I think in a lot of ways it really has aged really well, and it just goes to show like how connective that game can be. It just connects people, in all different ways, all different facets, and I just love that about classic WoW, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's honestly it's the gameplay that's immortalized it. It's the way the game works and the idiosyncrasies that's created by class balance, by items, by quests, by world PvP capability. All these little things have created so many different iterations and permutations of how you can actually experience the game that people just can't reproduce even today. It's amazing. And
it really is.
It's just, and honestly, I think it was a lot of it's by dumb luck. Like
these items, the right time, man.
Yeah, like these items, like the root, the tuber, and that you get in Fellwood. That's actually it doesn't share cooldown with potions, right? I'm sure that someone was like, oh, this will be it. I'm sure no one realized the PvP consequences of something like that, and it's so cool. It's so cool. What an interesting game.
Like you said, Ferrum, like the hacking and the game breaking, a lot of people find that interesting, like even when it comes to technical stuff. And in WoW, right, like essentially you can bend the rules of WoW, at your will. There's a lot of things you can do to get an upper leg. And it's not so much breaking the game, but it's just utilizing the things within the game that kind of not, may have been overlooked. If you utilize engineering, you utilize a lot of these one-off items. I always talk about like, going out, getting general remedies in Stranglethorn Vale for the disease and poison cleanse if you don't have it. All these little items, one-off items that can just really enhance your gameplay. And like Melderon said, in no other iteration of WoW was so much of that part of the gameplay. And it's all about your experience, right? If you, find yourself in an encounter where, someone, say you're a mage, right? And, you're going against a warlock or a class that usually can kill you pretty well. There's these little one-off items you can do, and it just totally makes it, your game, your style. You can bend all these things to your will in a way, and it really just you leave your imprint on the game. In no other game do I feel like you can leave such an imprint on it than any other game. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
Yeah, dude, the hype is real, man.
I actually use it as an example, excuse me, for my students. I mentioned that I have to teach my students about cyberbullying, which is one of those things that like the government deems necessary these days. And instead of telling them about like some kid somewhere, that has some kind of issue, the most, I think, impactful incident that I can mention to him is the Serenity Now incident of like 2005, I think.
Nice.
Because I think that's probably the first documented case of cyberbullying, because there is no crueler thing that you can do than ruin a funeral. And that's really what it was, is it was a funeral. And it may, things like that. You're like that is it. As horrible as it sounds, when you're first watching the video, you're like, okay, that's really funny. And then when you stop to think about it, you're like, okay, so this was someone that actually died. They were recording it to send to that person's family. So you're like, oh, okay, so that was mean as well. So I feel like that's a good one to.
It is.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I just don't know why they did it in Winter Spring. I just don't understand.
Well, the thing is, it was, I mean, if you guys are familiar with this was a funeral that was being held both, in Winter Spring because it was that person's favorite zone.
It was their favorite zone, yes. Okay. Yeah.
And
but on a PvP server.
Both factions there, and it was on a PvP server, and Alliance Guild came and basically crashed the funeral, killed everyone, and just totally
and a little bit of backstory. Everyone's in RP gear, right? No one's wearing any armor.
Right.
Everyone's wearing like these like shirts and stuff and whatever. So these guys just and these were Alliance players, came out of nowhere and killed all these Hordes.
Well, it was Horde and Alliance. They were there together. I mean, but of course they only killed.
Well, it was a Horde guild though. It was a Horde guild.
Right, but what I'm saying is like both factions for the most part came together. And
yes. Except for this one Alliance guild that thought they would crash someone's funeral and kill all the people there.
What better example, and I think it's a great reason to teach that to your kids, because like what better example do you have that? And I think the reason why cyberbullying becomes so prevalent is because of that disconnection from reality, right? Because you look at this, it's easy to look at this person as not a real person, just something on a computer screen, and not think that person has feelings or this, that, and the other, the repercussions behind it, the consequences, right? Because it's a lot harder to do something like that in real life. You know what I mean? The anxieties of it, the consequences.
People at a funeral.
But it just shows how how disconnected people can become through the computer screen. But I think WoW in general is really it's kind of on the edge with a lot of that stuff, because people invest so much time, so much energy into this game, and it really does become this alternate reality in which some people end up spending more time than in the real world. But when that happened, like a lot of people, I think, did they get banned? I think
they did.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, that was crossing the line for a lot of people, but still to this day, like it's one of the most.
It's contention, because you know what? Did they do anything honestly that broke the rules of the game?
Right, exactly.
And that's the thing,
I mean,
and whatever we could say about that or about this. I wonder if that had any input into flying mounts. I don't know. No, probably not.
I do know that Blizzard regrets the flying mounts. They've mentioned that on multiple occasions.
Yes, they do. So, yeah. I mean, because every time they think about, we're not going to implement flying mounts this time, people to go nuts. You know what I mean? Because you've opened Pandora's box at this point, right? And that's a lot of what WoW is really hard to go back to. Why it's really hard for them to go back to the original classic ways, because they opened Pandora's box. And there will always be people who enjoy that easier, quicker way, quality of life way over the more rewarding way, because a lot of people don't have time to put into the game that we do. And I want those a lot of the younger I'm not saying a lot of the younger people, but it is like that instant gratification type game. So I think once they open Pandora's box, it's really hard for them to go back. It's almost like you really can't backpedal here, because you're going to be just pissing off too many people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So when the announcement kind of came out and you heard about what was going on, and what was the first thing that came to your head? Like you heard J. Allen Brack go against his word, and basically, after that whole meme. And so I guess I'm asking is were you excited? Were you kind of awed? Did you start making plans in your head? What was your first reaction?
Truth of the matter is, I had played on private servers before.
Yeah.
And the reason I played on them is because with every expansion, I feel like it's gotten worse, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
And so I talked to a girl in college, and I can't remember her name for the life of me. But I was talking to her about playing World of Warcraft. She said, well, I play on private servers. At the time, I'd never heard of them. And so I was like, well, holy crap, you're like some kind of a convict or something. But then I looked into it later, and I was like, this is really cool. The fact that you can go back and play it as it was, and it's in the form that I felt like it should be. The only downside was it wasn't stable. And I remember thinking that, like, if Blizzard ever makes their own private servers, I'm on board. I don't care if I have to buy the game. I don't care if it's a paid subscription. I don't care. I will play it because I want to play the classic WoW, and I want it to be stable. I want to have as close to that experience as possible.
Amen.
Yeah. So as soon as they announced it, it was one of those things where it's like finding out you won the lottery. I mean, I would assume I've never been on the beginning of that, but as soon as I heard it, I was like, holy crap. So I started sharing it with everybody I could. I was like, let's get a guild together. Let's start getting us a group. We need to start planning out what class are you playing? Do you heal? I mean, the whole bit. I was crazy excited for it.
Oh, man.
So did you play on Nost?
No, I didn't. It was actually something called Excalibur, I think.
Oh, yeah. Excalibur, wow. Yeah, it was BC or...
It was vanilla.
Vanilla, okay. I think I played on Excalibur's PC ROM back in the day, which was a lot of fun as well. But it was like the BC one was like 5x XP. It wasn't really a 1x. I think the vanilla one was a 1x, I think. But yeah.
So what aspects of the game are you actually looking forward to? Like, did you play retail up until what point?
I'm still subscribed to retail.
Yeah.
And there's a funny story behind that. But I'll come back to that later.
Yeah.
Remind me, because it's a good one.
I will.
But I still have a subscription, and the thing I'm looking forward to most is PvP. I absolutely love PvP, and probably world PvP more than Battlegrounds, just because there's that extra adrenaline where you're like, oh man, there they are. There's no reason to kill them other than the fact that they chose the wrong side.
Right, exactly.
They're the enemy. They will die.
They looked at you wrong. They looked at you wrong. You know, they targeted you. Why did they target me?
What were you looking at me for? Heaven forbid they mine your node, and you're like, all right, you're gonna die now.
Oh, yeah, die. Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly.
But I love the PvP, and in all honesty, when I played at 70, the only reason I did raids and all that other stuff is because I wanted better gear, so that whenever I PvP, I could just tear through people.
Nice.
That is what I love the most. And classic WoW PvP is still balanced. They don't have the I think it was resilience is what they added at 70.
Came out.
And that crap sucked because I played rogue. And as a rogue, I'd go up behind someone wearing cloth. I'd try to stab them in the back, and I'm like, okay, this is stupid. The fact that there's a priest or mage or whatever that can easily kill me. Yeah. And I cannot kill them with 2-3 shots in the back. I should be able to do that as a rogue.
Even immersion wise, it doesn't make sense, you know.
Vanilla WoW PvP was so just to the core. You know, classes were what they were. There was no added armor bonuses. Minus damage, and I feel like if you had a high burst class, you were rewarded for it. As a rogue, if you had a high survivability class, it was plate armor classes. Took more melee. They were able to take more melee damage. If you were a mage and you didn't have your frost barrier up, say goodbye. And ambush, and you might just die. Yeah, and I love that about classic WoW.
I agree. Yeah, that's how it should be. I feel like it's. A friend described it to me once that it's like paper, rock, scissors.
Yeah.
So if you want to be paper, you can kill rock, but scissors will kill you, and of course all of the other aspects to it. And I'm accepting of that. And that's cool. I can kill paper. I'm okay with being able to kill mages and cloth wares. But he did say that the exception is warlocks. They're mushrooms. Because they can kill everybody and everybody can kill them.
And maybe a shadow priest too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. I like mushrooms. I never heard that. That's good. I like that.
Yeah. It's a really good point too. But the thing about classic WoW, which is really, really cool, is that there's a skill level set, right? Because in PvP, there's so many one-off items, whether it's engineering, whether it's Skull of Impending Doom, whether it's Titled Charm, and that class that you could have easily killed, mages are really good at killing warriors a lot of times, but if you get yourself an engineering net, if you get yourself a Titled Charm, if you get all these things, it closes that gap, and you really can allow yourself. And I feel like in classic WoW, it's really the only time where if you put the time and effort in, you can have a little bit better chance of killing that class that would normally kill you. And if you put the time and effort in and you get the best gear, and you get raid gear, which is awesome. Which a lot of times raid gear is your PvP gear, other than the rank 14 gear and the rank gear, stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's all the same. So like, you are so rewarded for the time and effort you put in, and you still might have a chance of killing that class. It's going to be a little bit harder. You're going to have to put some work into it, but you can do it.
Yeah,
that's what I love about Classic.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you plan on ranking during Classic?
I didn't. I mean, I did PvP enough to get I don't remember what it was. I think Scout, just like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I did that kind of stuff. But beyond that, I didn't actually get high enough to rank back at level 60.
Mm-hmm.
At level 70, I did. We did the arenas and stuff like that, so I got some decent gear there. But beyond that, no, at level 60, I didn't get to do any of the ranking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I heard all about the ranking and Ultric Valley and all that stuff from my friend that played since day one. And so that's something that I've also never gotten to experience that I really, really want to. So that's, I mean,
something you might be looking forward to when Classic actually launches.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, nice, definitely.
Dude. Yeah, I might.
So before we forget, though, I just want to. What is that story about retail that you wanted to say?
Okay, I don't know if this is. I mean, I'm assuming it's okay because
it's fine.
There for a while. Like I started. Yeah. I played up until Wrath of the Lich King.
Okay.
And then about midway through that, I was like, okay, this sucks. I didn't. I don't remember what it was that irritated me so much. Probably like the fact that they didn't keep resilience, but they had something else in its place. I was like, okay, this is lame.
PvP, power, I think it was, something like that.
Yeah. And so I quit playing. Came back during Cataclysm for a little while. Quit playing then, and then I didn't play until Legion. So I had like this 5-year, 6-year gap where I didn't play. Well, in the interim, my account got like hacked, I think, and stolen, and I was like, I don't care, I'm not playing it anyways. And then as like Legion was close to coming out, I was like, you know what? My friends wanted to play again, and we were going to give it a try because it's Illidan. He's the best character in WoW. We were like, okay, well, we'll give it another shot. And so I go through the steps trying to get my account back, and I get it back. Well, when I log in, I don't know when they had, and I say the people that hacked my account, when they had stopped using it or if they had stopped using it, but it was full of just like mounts, all kinds of mounts and potions and enchants, just tons of crap that I didn't make. Like they were using it as a storage account or something because it was just full.
And gold too?
It had plenty of gold. The gold wasn't just a ton.
This is the first time all of the account getting hacked and having more stuff in it than it did.
they put like all kinds of crap in it. It was worth a bunch. So like there were some mounts that sold for 3 million gold apiece.
What?
I had like 2 or 3 of those. And so I ended up just paying for my subscription by selling the stuff that was hacked and stored on my account. And to this day, I'm still paying for my subscription. That's why it's still active, is because I'm keeping it alive so that whenever Classic WoW finally has an actual set date, that I'm just going to store up on like 2 years at least worth of months and then just keep them.
Wow.
So I'm still selling off the stuff they left on my.
That's pretty. I've never heard of anyone getting. Every time my account got hacked, my guy was naked. All my gear was gone. All my money was gone. And so I'm in a similar boat right now. Though I played. I played a lot. I was really hardcore into like Mythic grading. Mythic Plus, we cleared mid grades, which was fun. I did have some fun Legion, I will admit it. But then the way the game got it was just not rewarding. Friggin' Titan forging, LFR just got to me. Finally gave up. But the thing is, I had about 2.5 million gold. So I actually stopped paying for WoW with money. And recently, I just stopped and I was like, I want to do these deep dives for the stream, whatever. And I'm just paying with gold now, and it's like. I'm not really giving the money. I'm just using the tons of gold I have in this character. And, what happens in Classic, I think if you have an account, you'll, have one for Classic too, so that just might as well keep it going, right?
Yeah, like, dude, good for you, man. I mean, look at it this way. I mean, those a-holes hacked your account, and that's what they get, I mean, and if you can benefit from that, do it. I mean,
that's awesome.
That's really cool. And, So you came back for Legion. What did you notice when you went back? Like, what was the first things that kind of hit you? Like, whoa, this is a lot different than I remember.
I think that the most different things was, all the stuff that they've added. The fact that they had some voice acting in there, I actually thought that was pretty cool. I've always thought that was a good idea to have that kind of stuff. Obviously the classes they added in, the fact that they had demon hunters was something that I always thought would be a cool concept. But I think probably the most different stuff that I noticed was they had more animations, more cinematics. Everything else that I remember previously was essentially there, because we had Looking for Group in Cataclysm.
Okay, right. The sharding, the sharding I think started during Cataclysm. No, that was during Wrath of the Lich King, I think, is when that started. Maybe, when servers didn't really seem to matter as much anymore. It was...
They started it whenever you would build rep with certain places. It would change the cities, and that was the only form at that time. But
yes, correct.
So
interesting. So gameplay wise, though, we all yearn for Classic WoW because we miss the gameplay. So I guess, what about Legion, or whenever you went back, Legion, WoD-ish time, what kind of made you... I'm assuming you just kind of pushed it away, even though you pay for it now with your gold. So how did those changes affect you?
In all honesty, I don't really do the in-game content anymore.
Yeah.
I do max out my characters. But like the fact that every other patch they will release some kind of an update, some sort of a catch-up mechanic.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just don't care. So I literally will run old content. I'll try to farm transmogs so that my rogue looks like he's wearing full Bloodfang gear. Just got my gloves the other day, actually.
Nice.
Love it.
And that is all I use it for. I've been working on trying to get both of the bindings so that I can do the Thunder Fury quest line. Dude. Because I assume I'll never get to do it in Classic. I may as well at least know what it looks like.
Never know.
Yeah.
Never know.
Well, I mean, I'm all for it. That's part of the reason why I am picking Rogue for Classic, is because if I have the chance to get Thunder Fury, dude, there is nothing I wouldn't do.
It's going to go to the Warriors first. But,
I'm sure it will. Yeah. I'm sure it will. But in the off chance, that's why I'm playing Rogue. Otherwise, I would probably look at like a Hunter or something else.
Okay.
Yeah. I love the Rogues.
Yeah.
I really do.
So it sounds like, a lot of it is just playing it to kind of get that fix that you want to get for Classic, you know what I mean? Which is very understandable. Yeah. So, like, what are the things that you're looking forward to the most about when Classic WoW comes out? Like,
aside from PvP,
I do want to do the raids and the instances, mostly the raids. Like I said, I run the old content, so like Molten Core, Blackwing Lair, all of those. I want to run those. I want to run it with a group. I want to be a part of that experience where you're like trying to watch the tail swipes.
Dude.
all of that stuff. I think that'll be a lot of fun. So aside from the PvP, I do want to have that experience of being a part of the raiding scene as well. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
You are more than welcome to join our raid and our guild group, brothers, when we go in Classic WoW for the Horde, baby.
Yeah.
Good deal.
So
Good deal.
We spent a lot of time bashing retail, and I've definitely one who does that. But is there anything that you find could be interesting to implement? So this is a two-part question. What do you think? What do you think Classic would benefit from the newer ideas of the game, and what do you think retail would benefit from Classic?
I think that I'll answer the first one first, and this is kind of, it's not exactly a straightforward thing, but the concept of the Pandaren, the fact that they can choose between Alliance or Horde, I've always thought that was a neat concept. I would play a Panda if they weren't the most hideous class in the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but I've always thought that it should be possible for you to maybe disagree with the leaders, either the war chief or the king, and switch factions. I think the ability to defect, if they took that and added it to Classic WoW, I think that would be a truly awesome concept. Because in all honesty, my favorite race is the Night Elves. They have Shadow Meld, and I feel like that alone makes, if you could do a Battlegrounds full of Night Elves with your hunters, rogues, druids, priests, all of them shadow melded somewhere, you wouldn't lose anything. And I think that if they could defect to the Horde, that would just be perfect. That would be all I need.
Yeah.
I think like RP-wise, that's pretty cool. So in retail, if you guys don't know, like what he's talking about is Pandarens can choose when they first make it, whether it be Horde or Alliance. They also have something where you can conscript to become Horde or Alliance just for one battleground, and you have to pay like a certain amount of gold. But as soon as you're done battleground, you go back to your faction. But the idea of actually, defecting from your faction, I think would. I mean, I know, it's not something that happened in Classic, and I personally probably wouldn't want it to be in Classic WoW, personally myself. But I think the idea of it is really freaking cool. I mean, like, RP-wise, I can imagine, and imagine, like, you would have to prove yourself to the Horde. So, if you're a Night Elf, people are like, this, Night Elves are hated by a lot of the factions on the Horde, and, you have to prove yourself maybe by killing, like, this high-ranking Night Elf official or something like that, killing Tyrande, hopefully, because she's a loser. And, I don't know, that would be pretty cool. Like, imagine an undead character trying to be part of the Alliance because he still holds on to he has the memories of Melderon, and he still holds on to being like a human of Melderon, and he wants to rejoin the Alliance, something like that. I think that would be pretty cool. Like,
it's an interesting concept.
RP-wise.
It's an interesting concept. PvP-wise, it'd be really it would kind of it would obviously destroy the faction imbalance with PvP ratios and PvE ratios too, and that could be bad or good. That's a Pandora's box. But I think that would be interesting, and you actually see this in some of the private servers. Some of the private servers it's just a PvP oriented server. You get to max rank, you get your gear, and you go into a battleground and you fight enemies. You don't fight Horde versus Alliance, you just fight whoever. And it's really interesting to see two shamans fight each other, or see a paladin and a shaman like team up, and you're like, what the hell, It's like cool. It's a cool, interesting little thing. Maybe there could be even a game mode. Maybe it's just a game mode where it's like a weird skirmish where you don't go by faction.
Right.
I don't know.
And I think that would be something like in keeping it in the vanilla-esque feeling, right? I don't think it's something you should be able to do very easily. It should be like hidden behind this long quest line. You have to I don't think it should be something you just do automatically. You should be able to there's this long quest line where you become like a mercenary at first, and then you do something that kind of makes you question your morals and all this, that, and the other. And I think it should take you should have to get reputation up, that kind of thing. It should take a long time, and then it's a really serious choice. Are you sure you want to do this? But guys, I'm no changes to the max. I personally love the way the game was, but it is a really, really, really interesting idea, and who knows, maybe down the line, in WoW. But now they have their what are they called? Allied races, which is not really like that. But I mean, you have Blood Elves who basically went to the Alliance. If I'm not
they became what are they, Void Elves or something like that?
Void Elves,
yes. Yeah.
So that's kind of in the same vein, right?
And you have the Nightborn that are on the Horde, which are essentially Night Elves. They just can't Shadow Meld. They have other stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, all elves are essentially the same race, so they were at one time. So,
everyone's a
which
troll.
I always found pretty interesting. Yeah, everyone's a troll. Everyone's a troll. Elves are really
except for the orcs.
Except for orcs.
And then the Earthen, the Earthen came.
And the humans aren't trolls, right? No, they're not.
No, they came by direct. They came. They're more closely related to dwarves. They came down the Earthen path,
right?
Kind of, sort
of. Bjorn.
Yeah, but so now keeping in mind that Classic and Retail are very different games with very different player bases.
Oh yeah.
What do you think Retail could benefit from a more classic or vanilla mindset of game design?
I think that they should accept the fact that these classes are not balanced and shouldn't be. I think that is the one thing that just kills me and maybe unconsciously everyone else about Retail. Well, is that they're like, well, what class do you play? Does it really matter? Everybody has some kind of a battle res. Everybody has some sort of a sprint. Everybody has CC. Everybody's the same. You're just either ranged or actually, I mean, even everybody has range nowadays. Yeah. So I think that honestly, they should accept the fact that they're not balanced. They shouldn't be balanced. That if you want to play a priest in a can, pick Paladin. If you want to play just a straight up priest and heal better, pick priest. I think that they've tried too hard to balance everything and to make it too convenient, if that makes sense.
Yep, like Paladin should be the king of single target heals. They should be that good at AoE heals. I remember what it was in Kata, or they got one of the best AoE heals. It was crazy, and why am I playing a Paladin and they're like the best AoE healers. I mean, it was great when I was like doing it, being the top of the healing charts, but it didn't feel right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I just love like in vanilla you have chain heal, which is like the only smart heal that goes across party lines. It's just such a cool heal. Like, and that was so shaman, you know what I mean? And like Alliance didn't have that, but they had paladins who were king of like a fast, quick heals, always topping the charts because no one could out heal them because they're so quick and so mana efficient. And then you had priests, which were just amazing in so many different ways. They had amazing heal over time, amazing long heals, quick heals. You could heal your party great, and priests were just, they're all so different. You know what I mean? Druids with their one heal to rule them all, down ranking like crazy, also having your hots, and you also have battle red. It was so flavorful, man. It was so, like, when you pick your class, you went in there for the long haul, and you were rewarded for what you had, and you just felt so distinct from everyone else.
Yeah, and I think, class identity is important, and I think that's one of the main reasons why a lot of people don't prescribe to the retail version of the game, but I also think faction is really important too, so faction identity. Now I know your idea with possibly being able to cross faction, but that should be locked behind a very long quest chain, like Defcamp said. But the fact that the Horde has this class and these mechanics that aren't available to the Alliance at all, and then the same thing on the Alliance. I don't know why. I always thought to myself, why did they allow Shaman to be Alliance and why did they allow Paladin to be Horde? They're so synonymous with the faction itself. Shaman is so Horde, Paladin is so Alliance, and then the fact they did that, I was like, I mean, TBC was a great game. Don't get me wrong, but imagine TBC with Horde still being Shaman specific and Paladins being Alliance specific. I think that'd be really interesting, man.
Wow,
really
and, it would be hard for me because I love Paladins. Especially the Burnt Crusade. I'm not a big fan of the Alliance. I talked about this before. Like, I love the Alliance aesthetics. I love the zones, the quests, the lore, the cities. I love Stormwind, but I feel so connected to the Horde because of the people of the Horde, right? When I'm a Horde character, I love that feeling of being like the underdog, of being like that loner of the Forsaken, like trolls and the orcs, and that camaraderie you get, that real brotherly feeling that you get being a Horde. You know what I mean? You feel like these guys are your brothers. On the Alliance, it's like, hello, I'm a night elf, and I'm a human, I'm a dwarf, and I'm a gnome, oh no, I'm a gnome, and it's just like very, you don't feel like connected to the people. At least I don't.
More for honor and less for your allies, I think.
Exactly. It's that honor. Even those recent cinematics with Zappy Boy and Sourfang, when they looked over to the Horde banner and like got this like such an amazing feeling that we are the Horde. That carried over with me. But I love Paladin so much that it's hard for me to pick. And honestly, I liked in the Burning Crusade when I could play Paladin, but I 100% agree with Melderon. I would rather deal with what I had to deal with. Maybe have an Alliance alt somewhere else, and still have the Horde with only having Shamans and the Paladins only being on the Alliance. I think it plays so well into the lore, into the RP, and little things like the priests having different abilities. Only dwarfs had Fear Ward. Back in vanilla, and little things like that is just so flavorful.
Yeah,
I agree.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you think they're pushing the game towards a factionless state?
I kind of get that vibe, actually.
Yeah.
The fact that they're trying to, I almost feel like they are going to give the option to defect to a different faction, just because of like all the stuff Sylvanas is doing, and the fact that they're giving the Horde at the very least the option to go against or with her. Which, in all honesty, they started that before Battle for Azeroth. If you read the book Before the Storm, that kind of sets the stage, because the whole premise behind that one is that there are undead and there are Alliance humans that are still related, and they still know each other, and some of them do actually want to meet their I guess family from their previous life, so that at the very least they can tell the bot. And I'm not going to tell you how it all turns out, but it's a really good read, actually.
Yeah, I actually heard. Yeah, it was pretty good. That story.
Yeah, and I feel like that kind of sets the stage with everything that's going on there with the whole "are we sure we're on the right side" kind of idea. So yeah, I really do think that they may be giving the option to either make everything factionless or at the very least switch to a different side.
Yeah, I wonder, now that you're just talking about that, I wonder if they're actually trying to make a tri-faction game with the Forsaken. That could be a weird dynamic too.
That was my first thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first thought, but I don't think there's enough people that play the Forsaken to be their own faction is the only problem.
Yeah. But the thing is, in Classic, which is so beautiful, is like you have such faction pride. I mean, I see it in my stream chat all the time. You know, for the Horde, for the Alliance, people going at it. But at the end of the day, it's all love, right? Because we all love this game so much. But the faction pride in Classic is the strongest it ever was, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, I think more people give a crap about faction way more in the Classic community than they do in the retail community. And people are vehemently so. I mean, there's a guy in Countdown the Classics Discord, I can't remember his name, but he was actually on the show a few times, and he, like, legitimately despises the Alliance. Like, he hates them, dude. Like, he will go out of his way to kill them. He'll, like, kill lobies. He doesn't care if it doesn't matter. Like, he hates them.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, damn, that's pretty harsh, dude. Because I was like, I hate them too, but not to the level this guy does. And you get that in Vanilla WoW, and that's just so neat, dude. It
really is.
Yeah, it really because the lore is built upon it. You know, the lore is built upon this faction schism. To an extent, we have the old gods, we have the void, we have all these things. But however, I think that the faction schism to me is the most important lore driver in the game.
Well, it's not only that. It's the experiences you have while leveling, right? When you get ganked by a group of Alliance and you're doing your chicken quest in say Ferralis or the Hinterlands, you hate the Alliance to that point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you're running through STV and you're just trying to get to Nesting Wars camp, and this group of Alliance, even though it's like 3 of them, they can never fight fair. They always kill you when there's 3 of them. When there's 1 of them, they'll leave you alone. Like, you hate them. I hate them. You know, I hate female Night Elf hunters more than anything because they always wait until I pull 2-3 mobs, wait till I'm at half health, send their pet out, and kill me. Like, I just hate them. You know what I mean?
It's funny you mention that because at the beginning, I really didn't care either. I was like, they're on the Alliance. Leave them alone, let them collect their node. But because I always played on PvP servers, but as I got jumped a few times, I was like, you know what, these guys are gonna die.
Yeah, they're gonna get. I know you're not the guy who ganked me, but I'm gonna take it out on you. It's like
exactly.
They're gonna suffer for your team.
Exactly. And
it makes it that much harder to go and play Alliance for me, like because once in a while I'll do it, and then I feel really bad about killing a Horde. Oh my god, I just killed an orc. Like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, I do that too.
What other game makes you feel like that? It's crazy.
Yeah.
When I was playing that mage, dude, I did not get any. Like, I had so little honorable kills because I was just like, I'm not killing any Hordes, dude. And a Horde would kill me. I'm like, go ahead. You know, it's just like I don't know. But
make you feel better.
So before we end, I wanted to talk to you about server choice. So you said you always play on PvP realms. Are you planning on doing that again, and why? And how do you feel about this whole RP PvP thing that's been bubbling up in the news now?
I actually have been looking into. Obviously, I'll play PvP. There's not even a question there. But with the whole RP thing, there's 2 parts to that, I think. And the first part is the RP servers in retail WoW don't have the phasing, which is something that I didn't know until about a year ago, I think.
Right.
When I heard that, I was like, holy crap, why wouldn't I play on one of those in the first place?
Exactly.
Just because if they're going to add phasing in, they won't add it to those because it's not part of the RP. And the second part of it is there's actually a lot of mods and things that you can download to make like a character profile and I mean, go all in to the RP aspect of it, which I'll admit, I would never, that wouldn't be something I'd want to do all the time. But at the very least, I think it would be a lot of fun to have the option, because when I go into Battlegrounds, one of the best things to do is to talk to the Battlegrounds group as if you are that character and like try to use as many of the inflections as possible with your typing and everything. And like whenever someone dies, like congratulate your comrade and try to use as many of the phrases from like essentially Lord of the Rings as possible.
Yeah.
And I've actually had people who are like, "That's how you play this game." And it's fun. So I think the RP, even ignoring the fact that they don't have the sharding or anything, I think the RP is actually pretty fun to engage in from time to time. Yeah. And if there's a server that does that, you have other people who will do it with you.
Absolutely. I really hope that Blizzard changes their mind with this. And honestly, I think the fact they mentioned it, so their whole thing was, right, if there's enough of a wanting or enough of a demand, thank you, words are hard. If there's enough of a demand for RP PvP servers, then I think they'll think about it. And I really feel like they shot themselves in their foot with this, because the fact that they brought it up, they made it a demand already, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's saying, oh my god, yeah, we need RP PvP servers in Classic. It's the truest, most realist way to play Classic for a lot of people. And just like what you said, man, like, if they would have no sharding, even though it says it's going on in the beginning for the first week or whatever, I think there's so many people against sharding right now that it would make the RP PvP realms a lot more popular if they weren't going to have sharding on those realms in the beginning, which would be huge. And I'm so against sharding, especially because I feel like that's the story of the server, right? Some servers are going to be more populated. It's going to be harder, you know what I mean? But then you get together with your group, people do different things. Maybe go on do a raid to get with a group of level 10s and raid Dun Moreau or something like that. It's fun, have the fun. It's not all about getting to 60 as fast as you can. For some people it is, and they'll get ahead of the pack. They will. It'll happen. It might take a little more time, but you're rewarded for being on a small server if you want to do that, and you're it might be a little bit harder if you're on a bigger server.
Yeah, I would rather the servers crash. I would rather it take 2 weeks for me to reach level 10 than to have sharding. I really would.
Absolutely, dude. 100%.
Yes.
Because that's part of it. That's one of those things that I remember my friend bragging about that when we were at school. He would say, "Dude, this game is so popular, the servers can't even handle all the people logging in. They crashed. We would something would happen on the server, and the server would crash. We'd have so many people fighting in the middle of Stranglethorn Vale that the servers crashed." And I was like, that is cool. I mean, I've never heard of a game going down because people were so interested in it. And I think that that's a shame that they're trying to remove that.
I agree.
Yeah, and I look at it like this, right? To me, when you first make new characters, like the launch of a server, to me is equivalent of like the AQ event, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Imagine the AQ event was sharded.
Yeah, it would totally be 100% off.
Exactly, and like so, why? In my eyes, it's like you're doing the same thing with the launch event. Yeah, it's going to be clusterfuck. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Yeah, it's going to be a mess. But that is what's beautiful about it. That's what's amazing about it. That's what's memorable about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the things we have to fight for. That and right-click reporting, I think, are the biggest things right now. Yeah. And, if we
I think they said they're going to remove that, though.
They did.
Did they?
Really?
I think so. It seems like I've heard that they're not going to have the right-click reporting in there.
I haven't heard that, but
I hope send me a source.
I could be wrong, but I think I've heard that somewhere.
So,
I mean,
So, like, what, before we end, I like to just remind people that your YouTube, your Twitter, and your Twitch are all underneath your name right there. They're in the description as well. What type of content are you going to be focusing on in the future? Because you have a very niche channel, a very interesting channel, and you can learn a lot too. So what are you focusing on next?
What I'm currently working on is a Twink guide. I'm trying to get some PvP videos together as well, but the Twinks I know a lot more about, which is... Ironically, it's something that a lot of people don't know about, but a lot of people would enjoy if they did. Because it takes the idea of not everybody has the time or the desire to get to 60 and then to raid and then do all that stuff. And Twinking gives them an avenue to essentially mix the casual with the hardcore crowd. Yes. And you can get a lot out of it. So I'm working on videos for that, guides for that stuff. I'll move on to PvP soon. I'm going to try to get as many of these cranked out as possible because I feel like Classic's going to be launched within 2 months at the latest, in all honesty. I really think it's going to be soon. With as many updates that they've been doing, I think it's going to be sooner rather than later. And so I'm trying to get as many guides out there as possible. And then after it launches, I'm probably going to do some more guides just because I can actually show where the items come from and show in-game footage. And I would love to delve into machinimas, but that's going to be something that's later on down the road. If someone offers me a voice acting spot instead, I'll probably just take that. But I want to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Also, make sure you tell Platinum that he's always looking for voice actors.
Good
yes, we as well sometimes. So a lot of plans for the future for him, and I am really, really, really excited about that because, guys, it's amazing that this classic WoW community has some of the best content creators on YouTube. I mean, I say that not like 100% real because the passion that people have about this game really does bleed into their work. And it's just so amazing to see the passion that people have, the love that people have for this game put into their videos, the time and effort put into their videos. Like something about like one thing with Twinking, like this was one thing that I necessarily didn't get. I didn't understand. I really wasn't that big a fan about it. And then I started talking to people about it and understanding it and seeing it. And now I'm really interested about it. And it's through videos like yours and through people talking about it that I've gotten a better understanding about things like this, about things like Twinking. And I just think it's beautiful that people can put the passion into a video and share it with other people. I love that. So do definitely continue what you're doing. We're here to support you if you ever need help. And I would just really say, keep making videos that you yourself personally love and want to watch. And with that, you can never go wrong. If you make a video that you would want to watch and you would love, you can never go wrong with that.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you.
That goes for everybody, man. Everyone who wants to make content,
Yeah. Yeah, and the community is full of people like that, and it's really awesome. So if you don't know who Ferrum is, or his channel Warriors of Mandalore, definitely go check him out on Warriors of Mandalore. The link will be in the description and also is right there on the screen. If you want to be on DefTalk, you can email us at melderon.gaming@gmail.com. We are behind. We have a lot of people that want to get on the show, so I think we're 6-7 weeks waiting list right now.
Yeah.
So, just be patient and
awesome.
It's a great thing. It is a good thing. I hate making people wait, but we'll get to you. Yeah. We will get to you. And if you're listening on Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or iTunes, we also upload to YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, you can also listen to DefTalk on those platforms. We have a Twitter. We have a Discord. Definitely check us out on there. And ClassSquad.live as well, guys. That is something that's coming up very, very soon.
Very soon, guys.
So definitely keep
so
an eye
excited
out for that.
About this.
Yep, yeah. And I know Ferrum will be up there on there as well, posting stuff. So
you
can check him out on ClassSquad.live also. Anything you want to say to the peeps, Ferrum, before we say goodbye?
Get as many people as you can logged on. It's more fun with more people. So
absolutely,
hell yeah.
That is very
hell
good.
Yeah, dude. One thing I just want to say real quick, guys, is I if you guys play with us in Classic, we're gonna start making a guild. Join the Discord definitely for that because, like I said, more people, the more fun, baby.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing, guys, is I've been streaming lately a lot. So if you want to catch the streams, you can watch me on YouTube or on Twitch. I know I stream on both. So if you guys want to follow me on Twitch, that would help out a lot. And if you want to watch a stream, I'll announce it in the Discord. I've been streaming pretty regularly now, about 4 or 5 times a week. So also a big thing I want to mention, guys, we just recently hit over 8,000 subscribers. Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
That's awesome.
I mean,
it's been an uphill battle.
It's been absolutely amazing, though. We have the best community. The Classic WoW community is the best community, and we have the best community in the world, and I love you guys so much.
Yep.
Each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, go ahead, Defcamp, do the outro.
All right, guys. Yep. Until next time, this is Defcamp.
This is Melderon and
Ferrum Patronus.
Awesome.
Until next time, guys.
Keep on binding and grinding, baby. Yeah, jinx. All right. See you guys later.
Peace.